A final time on the Sean Lewis Show as San Diego State gets set for Central Michigan coming up Saturday at 12:30 Pacific with pregame coverage beginning at 10:30 in the morning. We do remind you the New Era Aztec Fest. ShopAztecs.com is your official source for team apparel. Get 10% off your next order with promo code RADIO. That's promo code RADIO at ShopAztecs.com. We've touched on this a lot over the weeks, but it's a player movement era. You have players that have played at multiple schools everywhere in FBS and FCS football. For Camoretti, he has a degree from Central Michigan. He spent 3 years there, was a prominent player on that defense. He's heading back home, so to speak, to take on CMU and the Chippewas. Pretty unique, and I'm sure he's looking forward to this experience this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I guess unique relative back in the day, probably not as unique, nowadays with it all. But yeah, it's a cool experience, right, for him to be able to, anytime you get to go back home to a place where you've literally, bled, sweat, given some tears, right, and you've, sacrificed for one place and, played at a really, really high level. I mean, shoot, he was on the field, when we were there in 2021. Very, very key contributor to what they've done. And what they did. And, he's made some key contributions to us already here, being a part of our football family with it all. But, I know it's one that he wants, obviously probably a little bit more than, maybe some of the other ones because of the personal connection to it. And I know the guys, we'll fight a little extra harder for him to go there and to give him a proper homecoming, so to speak, and we can handle it the right way.
Have you seen him giving any insight to his teammates of his opponent this week, which are his friends from previous years, and saying, hey, you got to watch out for this guard pulling, or this receiver loves the deep ball?
Sure.
Have you seen him giving any of those tidbits to his teammates?
Yeah, I mean, he's got obviously a good personal understanding of some of those guys' strengths and weaknesses, right, and what they like to do and maybe some tendencies and everything. So, yeah, he's been able to offer some insight on some certain things with it all. Again, kind of how we were talking about in the last segment, right, to where, with the signaling and everything else, right, not that he's been giving us that sort of insight to it, but again, just knowing, hey, like we kind of see this player X and this mold, like, is that fair? Like, is there something that we don't know? Is there, again, like, what's his primary move? What's his secondary move? Just where does he lean on? So, yeah, he's been able to help his teammates, right, and to put us on the right path to make sure that we're seeing things, clearly and the right way as we prepare for Saturday.
Yeah. One thing you don't need him to tell you is the Chippewas have a great running game.
Yes, they do.
Last week they put up 335 yards
Yep.
rushing on offense. How do you approach a game knowing that they have a potent run game?
Yeah, I mean, again, it starts with, their front, right? I mean, so they came into the season, 3 out of their 5 offensive linemen are returning starters. They're all massive human beings. I think 4 out of the 5 are over 300 pounds, and the majority of them are, I think, over 6'4", 6'5", right? So they've built out their front the right way. And so, again, it's really no secret sauce. We got to do a great job with our pad level. We got to do a great job setting an edge. We got to do a great job making sure that they do, a really nice job of playing with their backfield sets and varying their tendencies when it comes to those sorts of things, right? So we got to have really disciplined eyes to make sure that our keys are proper and our fits are proper. And then again, we got to go win those one-on-ones up front, right? Like ultimately the beauty of this game is that, all the X's and O's, we can go back and forth on the dry erase board, right? But I mean, the value of those plays or whatever the board and the expo marker is worth, right? It's not until the players enter the equation where everything really comes to life. And I've really liked the approach that our front 7 has really shown this week with the amount of inside run that we've done and fitting the run to make sure that we're good with it. And now those fundamentals and that approach has to carry over so we can go execute at a high level come Saturday.
You mentioned, I think this week during your weekly press conference, that you go way back with their starting quarterback, Joe Labus,
yeah.
who you were in on initially, maybe when you were at Kent State in Ohio. He's out of Cleveland.
Yeah, so he's out of Brecksville. Early on as he was coming up, he was on our radar, and we early offered him, and then he again got some Power 5 offers, ended up going to Iowa initially, and now again in this transfer portal era has found a good home, and there's obviously the straw that stirs the drink up there for them right now, and does a really nice job with all of their RPO run pass options, and is a really good decision maker. Is a really talented dude. He's only gotten better and better from that early initial. I think it was his sophomore tape was the first time that I kind of put eyes on him and everything. It was like, hey, this kid's got something, and has obviously developed and worked at a really high level to develop that skill set.
And then how do you prepare for that? They have that change-up curveball, Bert Emanuel Jr., who's a really athletic player, obviously, and I think they'll work in the threat of his throwing ability, obviously, as well, because he's come up as a quarterback. I mean, that's a big prep, right? The difference between what Labus is able to do and what Bert Emanuel Jr. showed last week.
Yeah, I mean, again, like they do a great job as a staff, obviously having, different playmakers and using them in a variety of ways that stresses your prep. So thank goodness we've had a little extra time here to be able to put some good work into obviously what they do and all the different ways that they can stress you out. And I feel good about our plan. And again, now we got to go execute consistently at a high level.
How do you mimic that in practice, having two separate quarterbacks, two different skill set? How do you get your defense ready for that?
We utilize some of our playmakers as well that we have, right? Being able to put some different people in some different places to make sure that we're showing the speed of the game and giving the defense the best look that we possibly can. But obviously, those guys are starters and they're being used in a variety of ways. And so, again, we got to do a great job, showing up, getting multiple hats to the ball to be able to tackle the talent that they have there.
When you think about similarities and differences between, different Group of 5 leagues, now that you're in the Mountain West, I mean, we haven't yet started conference play, but when you think about the Mountain West as a league, the MAC as a league, are they more similar than different, or how do you approach the different leagues across Group of 5 football?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mountain West is a tremendous league, right? And they've elevated themselves and they've separated themselves probably from the other G5s, right, with it all. And again, the amount of talent that we have in this league that we see week in and week out and the commitment to the teams and the universities and the importance of athletics, I think is a cut above, and very, very proud, of my history with the MAC, but very grateful to be where I am and where we're going here at San Diego State.
The Chippewa offense provides a challenge for you. The Chippewa defense presents an opportunity for you. So they score 32 points a game. They give up 31.5 points in a game. What does that do for your offense? The door is open to go score some points and put up some yards.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a challenge still, right? I mean, they do what they do, and they do it well. They've played some pretty explosive offenses that have probably skewed those numbers a little bit here early on. But, again, you can see the way that they're growing with some of their new pieces that they have, and each week they've been getting better and better and better. I mean, there's moments in that Illinois game now where they got them bottled up, and the Illini got some scores that kind of opened that thing up. But, again, you can see that they're sound, that they know what they're going to do. But, again, for us, it starts all on the line of scrimmage. We got to do a great job, again, communicating with all their different multiple fronts, and then will be some opportunities to create explosive plays that our skill need to take advantage of, and hopefully we can get some more opportunities with that speed and space and the way that Jordan Napier was able to finish from distance. It'd be great to see some of those more moments come to fruition.
What kind of relationship have you had over the years with Coach McElwain, who's done obviously a terrific job at Central Michigan, has done a great job at various stops, including here in the Mountain West as well? What type of relationship do you have with him, and what kind of teams does he typically have? Yeah,
I mean, his teams are always well coached. He does a really good job of maximizing his personnel and putting them in a position to be successful. Him and his staff have great experiences that they can draw from, right? There's not many pictures, there's not many problems, there's not many schemes that they haven't seen to where then they can Rolodex and get to the solutions and the answers for their kids very, very quickly. And I think that is, something that winning staffs are able to do with everything. We've had a great relationship, got to know each other obviously from our time spent in the league at various head coaching meetings and different things like that. Hopefully he extends an invite. I heard he's got a pretty sweet ranch up in Montana, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe one day I'll get an invite to be able to go up there and hang out with him a little bit.
Well, let's hope that after Saturday he's not too happy with you and doesn't want to invite you in there. Coach, one struggle so far this year has been penalties.
Yep.
It's no secret that you want to improve penalties. Watching practice, we now see there's some zebras out there at practice, some guys wearing referee uniforms. Can you talk about the approach to improving that?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're going to have great personal ownership and personal accountability of everything that we do. And obviously the aspect of the penalties right now is not anywhere close to where we need it to be and to our cultural standard, right? So, we got together and Coach Barton kind of took the lead on this to put a huge point of emphasis on it, right? Like he's donned the zebra shirt and has kind of become the ringleader of that crew to, again, just change and emphasize that obviously what has been happening can't keep happening, right? And so just making a point of emphasis of it, to where, again, doubling down on the personal discipline, the personal accountability, the personal ownership that we need to have with all that so that we stop having those self-inflicted wounds. So, yeah, having those the referee shirts out there is just, again, making sure that it's always kind of front of mind. These kids right now are major visual learners, right? So it's one thing to talk about it, but to just keep it at the forefront of their mind so that they see it and they know and they understand, again, like what we've been doing, how we've been going about it, that's got to stop. and we got to be intentional about making the choice to do things the right way so that we can stay and build on the path of that success that we know that we're capable of.
We're looking forward to it. Saturday, San Diego State, Central Michigan from Mount Pleasant. 12:30 again is the start time. Our pregame coverage will begin at 10:30 in the morning. Greg, appreciate you filling in for Rich. Great to see you, my friend.
It was a pleasure.
You're welcome anytime that Rich isn't here or when Rich is here, truthfully. Sean, we appreciate it. We'll see you in Mount Pleasant, all right?
For sure, guys. Yeah, thank you. Go Aztecs.
All right, for Sean Lewis and Greg Camarillo, I'm John Schaefer. Again, San Diego State, Central Michigan on Saturday at 12:30. You've been listening to The Sean Lewis Show on San Diego Sports 760.